What's good, fellow outcasts and other rejects? It's here, and welcome to WTC, the Anime Outcast. First things first, if you're new here, we upload anime what-ifs. Secondly, we hope you enjoy our content. If you do, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Now let's get on to the video. Last time, Izuku had gained the Omnitrix through a mysterious explosion from the sky that almost leveled a city block. After learning of the device's power, he began training and preparing for the UA entrance exam. And so we continue. We pick up with Izuku staring proudly at the zero-pointer robot's burnt husk as if he was inspecting his handiwork. The other exam participants gaze back at him in shock, confused about how he went from a crystal behemoth to a burning charcoal creature, though none of them get an answer as the exam comes to a close, with Izuku just shuffling off, waiting for his transformation to time out. We move forward a couple of days after that to where Izuku receives his acceptance letter. Just like in canon, it came packaged in a pristine white envelope with the UA logo embossed into a wax seal. Izuku tears into the letter, finding a holodisc being greeted by his hero, All Might, surprising him. But the fact that he passed with flying colors doesn't even faze him, getting 40 villain points and 60 rescue points. As the video continues, Izuku learns of All Might's new career as a teacher with the situation's weight hitting him. He jumps up from his seat and starts pacing back and forth, unable to comprehend the fact that he will be attending UA. Young Midoriya, before I go, I have two crucial messages for you. The Hollow All Might announces, stopping Deku in his tracks and bring his attention back to the video. That support item of yours, I'm unsure of its importance, but just in case, you better get that registered as essential immediately. He continues perplexing Izuku. This gets him thinking on how All Might found out about the watch. But nonetheless, the hologram resumes. I've received a letter from one, Mr. Toshinori, thanking you for the help on the beach and wishing you the best in your first semester here at UA. And with that, the holodisc promptly turns off, leaving Izuku to wonder if Mr. Toshinori told All Might about the watch, ignorant of the link between the two. Briskly moving to his first day, we pick up with Izuku staring at his classroom's large door. He stands there for a few seconds silently, a strange feeling in his stomach. Something felt wrong to him, like he's out of place there. Though he peers down at the Omnitrix on his wrist, seeing his reflection in the screen, that fills him with courage. So with a deep breath, he proudly enters the new classroom, unprepared for the sight within. As soon as he enters, he's met by the sight of Bakugo and Ida yelling at each other. What, did your old school shove that stick up your ass, or were you born with it? Bakugo yells at the speedster, appalling him, though the two quickly stop bickering as they notice Izuku, seeing him wide-eyed and speechless. How the hell did you get in here? Bakugo roars, his eyes lighting up angrily like explosions. He tries to confront Deku, but is blocked by Ida as he enthusiastically charges up and bows instead. My deepest apologies, he announces regretfully as he slowly lifts his head and formally introduces himself. Wait. What are you sorry for? A confused Izuku mutters, disoriented by how fast this encounter was progressing. Ida basically explained how he only saw him as a lowlife who was only out for himself during the entrance exam, referring to how he acted as his still unnamed diamond hero. And apparently, his aim with his projectile diamonds was very sloppy. But after seeing his actions as his Endeavor-like transformation, he knew he had horribly misjudged him. Izuku just stares back speechless, barely remembering if they even interacted during the exam. But the one person he could never forget appears behind him, Uraraka. Their chat goes pretty much like canon, but as it progresses, Izuku notices a strange mumbling coming from behind his new friend. As he peers over her shoulder, he jumps back in fear as he sees a disgruntled man in a sleeping bag. The two awkwardly stare at each other in silence as Uraraka freezes in fear. Hello, I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher. The man lazily explains as he leaves his sleeping bag, dusting himself off as he gets up. Aizawa quickly pushes past Izuku and Uraraka, moving to the front of the classroom to explain their first assignment as a UA student, the Quirk Apprehension Test. With that, the students don their UA PE uniforms and meet their strange homeroom teacher outside. As they all gather around Aizawa, he starts a speech very similar to canon. For most of your lives, you've taken tests without the use of your quirks. A very stupid system, if you ask me. Why should the weak hinder the strong? Anyway, I'd like Midoriya to step up to the plate for a demonstration of what is possible with your quirks. As Izuku marches up to the plate, he starts dialing up a transformation, his mind brimming with countless ideas, though he keeps it simple by going to transform into his powerhouse hero, the one we know as Four Arms. As he slams down the dial and is engulfed by a green flash, most of the class watch on in awe as the red Goliath replaces Izuku. On the other hand, Bakugo watches on horrified. What the hell? Look, Midoriya, I'm gonna say this in the bluntest way possible. Could you explain your quirk in a way that won't put the class to sleep? Aizawa mutters, sounding a tiny bit frustrated by the long-winded explanation on his submission forms. So Izuku explains his cover story to hide the Omnitrix, saying he was born with a rare mutation-type quirk called DNA metamorphosis. To put it simply, inside of Izuku is a genetic material of DNA for numerous foreign and strange creatures. Naturally, this would be considered a worthless quirk due to the fact that there is no practical application for it. However, thanks to an experimental support item from Detnerat, Izuku can safely swap his DNA with one of 12 creatures inside of him, though he could only stay in a different form for about 10 minutes due to the limitations of the device and potential side effects. But with that out of the way, Aizawa tosses a softball to Izuku. Anything goes, just stay within the circle. He mutters after getting out his phone. Midoriya stares at the ball for a couple of seconds while thinking, his class waiting in deafening anticipation. Then, Izuku gets into position to throw the ball with his lower right arm. Once it leaves his grip, he uses his upper arms to make a thunderous clap. This sends a wave of concussive force at the ball, shooting it even further with the ball landing out of the way of view of the students. Aizawa, with his phone's aid, declares Izuku's score at a respectable 812 meters. As expected from the one who scored the highest in the entrance exam, and what I'll be expecting from the rest of you, Aizawa announces to the class nonchalantly as if it wasn't a big deal for most of them. Though Aizawa had been rather lax so far, he is quickly angered by Bakugo leaping into the air and rushing at Izuku by way of explosions. As the boy flies through the air to attack his peer, he suddenly notices a significant altitude loss as his palms refuse to ignite. Bakugo is promptly restrained and then slammed into the ground by his teacher and his scarf, his hair starting to float in the process. Bakugo tries to force his way out of the capture weapon but struggles without his quirk. But with that display, it becomes apparent to the class who their teacher really was, Eraserhead, the Erasure Hero. Bakugo is forced to stop his attack on Deku and get back in line after being threatened with expulsion by Aizawa. With that out of the way, Aizawa continues the quirk apprehension test like normal, with the same punishment for anyone who fails it. Izuku gets through a small handful of events before timing out, but still doing exceedingly well in the ones he got to be an alien in. But he's pestered continuously by Bakugo as he goes on, demanding to know how he did that. Each and every time he tries this, he's met by Izuku shrugging him off or just blatantly ignoring him. Moving on to the results, Izuku rightfully earns the 10th spot on the result board, a far cry from his canon placement. He probably could have moved up a place or two if he'd used his time more effectively, as he wasted a good chunk of it waiting for his turn or thinking of a strategy. Mineta, just like most what-ifs here, is expelled soon after the results are revealed. With that, Izuku's first day at UA comes to an end. While on his way home, he's accompanied by both Uraraka and Ida, the former commenting on his strange time limit during the exam. Though Uraraka has a different conversation in mind. Those heroes you have are so cool. Do you name them? She curiously asked, genuinely wanting to learn about them. This is met with silence from Izuku, who had never really thought about that. No, not really. They're pets. They're me. He mutters back, which gets him thinking he probably should get some names together for convenience sake when talking about them. There's not much else to cover here, so we'll be moving on to the next event. It starts off mostly the same as in canon, with Izuku getting accustomed to his new student life at UA. Our first change comes when All Might comes bursting into the 1A classroom and announces that it was time for fight training. Instead of his concerned look Izuku had in the canon series, this Izuku has to look with pure determination and excitement, ready to show off more of his transformations. With the hero vs. villain training about to begin, we have to quickly go over Izuku's hero costume. He'll be wearing the same homemade suit as his canon counterpart, except with two small changes. One of the sleeves would be cut off short to give him access to the Omnitrix, and he would also be equipped with multiple small support items, stuff like flashbangs and other things to help him stall when he inevitably times out during a fight. We're going to skim over the next following parts as nothing too different happens here. All teams for the hero vs. villains training are the same, the central teams being Deku and Uraraka against Bakugo and Ida. We pick up with Bakugo and Ida as they enter the bomb room. Hey, Four Eyes! What's the deal with that weakling Deku? How is he transforming like that? Bakugo sparks at his teammate, determined to know about Izuku's secret. But Ida only stares back, rather puzzled by that remark. Strange, I thought that his childhood friend would already know about his quirk. But if you're going to be persistent about it, I believe he can transform into 12 different creatures for an increment of 10 minutes at a time, thanks to that watch of his. That time limit is the major weakness if you ask me, Ida explained as he investigates the room and setting Bakugo off. Moving to Izuku, he sits outside of the building with his more friendly partner, Uraraka. The two discuss a plan for a bit, with Deku making a priority target. As the two enter the mock building, Izuku starts dialing up another hero, thinking a few steps ahead of his hunter. Within minutes of skulking through the corridor of building, the pair get jumped by Bakugo. He leaps out from behind a corner and goes to blast the opposing team with a blinding explosion. But he's almost blinded by an even brighter green light engulfing Izuku and Uraraka. As the flash subsides, he sees Deku as his plant-based alien, Wildvine, shielding Uraraka. What the hell are you? Bakugo roars as he gears up from another attack, somewhat disgusted by Izuku's new form. Just want to say thanks to the Outcasts and Rejects for watching to the end of the video. If this video gets 20 likes, we'll continue this What If. But if we get 50 likes, we'll upload it this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell to get the next video early. Also, if you want to talk to me, hear voices, or want to just say hi, you could hit me up on my Discord, which will be in the description. Thanks again.